right, everybody, I'm back again. I'm really hoping the sound has fixed itself. I might not have done a really good job with my microphone. I do have one. I'm not sure if it works. I'm not very confident in it. Okay, great. Sound is good. Fantastic. Very good. I'm very glad to hear that. Anytime something goes wrong, technically, I just kind of cross my fingers and grit my teeth and hope that it just starts to level itself out, because I really don't know how to troubleshoot. I just kind of, fly by the seat of my pants here. Okay, so I want to jump right on into this here. This is going to be a relatively short video. Because what I aim to do here is ask one question for each of the elements and really just give you guys something to sink your teeth into in regards to what is trying to come forth in your life right now. Some of you are familiar with what is known as the Lionsgate portal. Some of you not so much. So I took a couple notes that I'd like to read from here as far as what the Lionsgate portal really is. When I first heard about it about 5 years ago, I thought, hi, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I thought that it was it sounded kind of made up to me, this Lionsgate portal. It sounded a little bit new agey. I didn't really love the vibe I was getting. It sounded like another, it didn't really resonate for me. And then the more that I looked into it, I realized that this had its basis in astrology, and that this was actually a time of year, or time throughout the seasons, rather, that was revered even by many ancient cultures, including the Mayans. So what essentially is happening here is that the star known as Sirius is at this point in time, I believe it is from the day of July 26th to August 12th, and it peaks today on the 8th day of August. We are all experiencing these really intense emissions from the star of Sirius, and this has a profound effect on the human system, on our bodies, on our psychology, and on the planet as a whole. And there really is, you don't have to know too much about astrology. You don't have to have any frame of reference to astrology at all to just be aware that the energies at this time are very intense. This is a wonderful time of year to start projects, to pull the trigger on certain things that you've been thinking about doing. So this is a really great time, and it seems to come very much in a cycle. Everybody around the same time seems to just decide that they're going to follow through with some project or something that they've been thinking about doing for quite some time. And a lot of those people don't even realize that they're being affected by astrological alignments. So Sirius, the star of Sirius, is known by some as being the spiritual sun. And I find that really interesting because Sirius has so much, there's so much profound information about Sirius when you look at human history and mythology. So it's a very fundamental star, and it has been the basis of so many wonderful stories. And so it's always something that has been interesting to me. And before I even knew what the Lionsgate portal was, I was interested in Sirius. And then I realized, oh, this isn't some made up thing. It's a legitimate alignment, and it affects people. So what I'm going to do today is a little bit different from anything that I've done before. I'm only going to be using the major arcana today. All right. So typically when I do these readings, I use the whole entire deck, the court cards, the minor arcana as well. But today I really wanted to focus in on the 22 major arcana so that we can get a really laser focused look at what's going on. And because I don't want to be here for an hour and a half, and I'd really like to just get to the point, I am, as usual, going to be doing the elements. Okay, so we have air, fire, water, and earth. And again, folks, this really comes down to whatever element you are resonating with the most at this time. It certainly helps if you have had any kind of astrological reading done before, like a Vedic chart, a natal chart of any kind, to give you insight as to what the highest concentration of elements is inside your chart. For example, my chart is very heavy in water, so I will always resonate very much with signs, readings that have to do with water. But what you'll find is that we change, we shift, we oscillate. So some days, somebody that identifies as an earth sign, somebody whose chart is very heavy in the earth element, will start to feel awfully airy this particular week or this particular month. And that is something that is very common, and we can shift depending on what alignment. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a problem. I decided to do fake lashes today, and I'm just not a fake lashes kind of girl. They never really work out for me. They always seem to turn on me. So probably won't be doing that again. But okay, so really you can listen to whichever of these elements you'd like, but know that I trust in synchronicity. I hope that everybody else trusts in synchronicity as well, meaning that you are ultimately going to be attracted to the message when it's right for you. So if you're watching this video right now and you're feeling particularly airy today, that would mean, some examples of what it means to feel airy is to be very much in your head, perhaps if you're jumping from topic to topic or subject matter to subject matter, or even person to person, that is a very air-like quality because it has everything to do with the psyche, has everything to do with the mind, as opposed to if you're feeling particularly emotional today and you're doing a lot of work processing any kind of emotional residue or anything like that, that is going to be where you identify as more of a water sign. So let's jump right on into it today. The one question that I felt was very appropriate to ask on this very special day is what is trying to come forth for you at this time in your life? And this may seem like a strange question to ask to some of you, but what I have found is that sometimes we need to look at what is happening behind all of our emotional defenses, behind our psychological and physical defenses. And sometimes we need to be reminded of the undertow, the undercurrents taking place. And I like to refer to the major arcana less as karmic forces and more as big machines that simply work. The cogs and wheels of these big machines are always turning. And so I think it will give us a nice indication of what is trying to spring forth, what is trying to manifest in your life, despite all of your either conscious or subconscious efforts to subdue them. So sometimes we don't realize that we have all of these emotional defenses that we have constructed, and they sort of keep down these things that are trying to come forth, okay? Whether that be creativity, whether that be, something that requires a lot of bravery, a conversation that needs to be had, a trip that you need to take. So I would like to look at what is trying to come forth for you in your life at this time. So we're going to start with my air signs. So Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. This is going to be for you. And remember, folks, I am only using the major arcana today, which is new for me. So all my air signs, I want you guys to tune in, hone in as much as you can, and set that intention. And we are looking at what is trying to come forth in your life. Okay, we're just going to do one card. One question, one card, easy peasy. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cut and dry now, isn't it? So for my air signs, what is trying to come forth for you? We have the sun. So this is a bright and shiny card. The sun rarely has to do with anything negative. I will say, now I don't even know why I'm saying this. I'll probably regret saying this, but I have noticed that this card, in combination with a couple other cards, including the Eight of Swords, the Death card, can actually sometimes indicate sudden death. Now, I'm absolutely not trying to say that this is what is applicable for you guys right now, but I did just say that the sun is usually not anything negative, but I have seen the sun, when it comes up in tandem with a specific few other cards, can mean sudden death. So it's not always bright and sunny. It's not always love and light. Sometimes it does indicate things that happen very quickly and change things forever. But that being said, that's not what we're talking about right here. Someone said sun equals too much heat, need less global warming. Well, welcome to my channel. Global warming is a hoax. So we'll just kick it all off with that. Global warming is a complete hoax. That is just a bogus ideology. It's geared towards making lots of money. The whole green movement, all of it is, it's just a bunch of hogwash, and we don't want to put any energy into that. The planet has cycles. She has always had cycles. Sometimes she warms up, sometimes she cools down. It has nothing to do with the effects of mankind on the planet. So yeah. All right. So a couple of practical applications of the sun in terms of what it is trying to bring forth in your life. So the sun is number 19. Okay, so for my air signs, I don't know if 19 is an important number to you, if this has any significance to you personally. But the sun really is often about new beginnings. This is also about the men in your life, okay? The sun being, obviously, it is a solar energy. And throughout history, throughout many different cultures and religions and dogmas, the sun represents the father. The sun represents the masculine archetype. So the father, the brother, the husband, the son. This is a very masculine, very male, very patriarchal symbol, okay? So if we're talking about, I get the sense we could be talking about men that are about to become fathers. We could be talking about men that are about to join teams with other men, whether that be a work thing, a sports thing. Really, there's so much here left up to interpretation. So, but the sun always does speak to something being brought to light. Okay, so it does fit very well, something that is trying to manifest itself in your life, as represented by the sun. It's going to be, it's one of those things you're not even going to have to try too hard. You're not going to have to do too much in the way of clearing, because the sun comes up no matter what. There's nothing that has ever been able to stop the sun. Even if there has been historically, which I'm sure there have been many, some kind of a huge global cataclysm where the sun was blocked out even for months, even years at a time, the sun never actually goes away. The sun never actually disappears. It disappears from our sight, which is a completely different story. Okay, but the sun never actually goes away. The sun is always there. It is a constant. So this does also possibly speak to things that are constants in your life, such as family members. Again, the sun having a lot to do with authority and perceived authority, could have something to do with the law, could have something to do with the universal laws or the laws of men. What this always comes down to, though, is something bigger than your perceived reality. So, this is a good thing. Okay, I'm relieved that we're not looking at anything super negative here. We're not looking at liars and cheaters and thieves or anything like that. But we can even work around something like that. Okay, all is never lost. Yeah, so I am reading air right now. I think next I'm going to do fire. But, I really wanted to focus on what was trying to manifest itself in your life despite your best efforts to subdue it. Now, again, whether this be conscious or subconscious, you might not realize that you're getting in your own way. You might not realize that you are consciously or subconsciously manifesting for yourself blockages and things that are just going to prolong what it is that you're ultimately, the direction that you're ultimately heading in. And what the sun is one of the greatest disinfectants that we have. Okay. It brings light. It is the light bringer. It gives energy. It provides light. It provides all kinds of things for us. So this is really, I get the sense that you need to get out of your own way and sort of let nature take its own course. Okay. And that's why I said earlier, there isn't a whole lot that is required of you to do consciously when the sun comes up, because the sun is a constant. The sun is very much a part of our internal alchemy. We're not separate from the celestial bodies whatsoever. We are very much a part of it, which is why things like the Lion's Gate portal have such profound effects on us, because within each one of us, we actually are, I believe, we are each a celestial system within our own selves. So every part of the body, all of the spheres, the mental sphere, the astral sphere, the physical sphere, all of these things have direct correlations to the macro, to the greater celestial bodies. So, this really does speak to getting out of your own way. Air signs are really, really good at analyzing things. They're able to see what's going to happen a little bit ahead of the curve because they're so mental and they're working on that level. They're just able to see things way, way ahead of the curve. So I just want to let you guys know my air signs. This is the number 19 in the major arcana. So if 19 has a significance to you, perhaps it speaks to the 19th of this month. That could be an important date for you. All right. So I do want to try to keep each sign under 10 minutes. I think that might have been about 6. I can't believe I've been yapping for almost 18 minutes already. That's unreal. All right. So next we're going to do fire. So fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I do have a soft spot for fire signs. I don't know why. I just have a soft spot for fire signs. So I want you guys to hone in your intention right now. This is a live video, and I do find that the live videos are very sensitive to whomever is tuned in at the moment. Okay, so whoever is watching this right now, your energy is directly interfacing with me, interfacing with my cards. So those of you who are in the chat, your energy is, this is a co-creation right now. All right. What is it? Okay. Can you? All right. So the question is, what is trying to come forth in your life? Fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aha. So we have the Chariot. All right. So the Chariot is number 7. This is actually a really wonderful card, and I was hoping that this card would come up today because talk about manifestation. The Chariot is one of those cards that encourages us to take the helm or take the steering wheel of our own life, of our own experience. Fire signs. If you guys are experiencing any kind of discord amongst the family, amongst the team, whether that be a professional team or your group of friends, now is really a time to address whatever has been kind of going on behind the scenes. If there's been any kind of gossip or backbiting or anything going on within the team unit, now is absolutely the time to address that. Because now is a wonderful time for fire signs to embark on any kind of a team or any kind of a group project. The Chariot, every time the Chariot card comes up in any context, some of the first things that come to mind are the administration, and not necessarily just the administration of the country, but the administrative capabilities of any kind of company, organization. So we are talking about movers and shakers, decision makers, people that have quite a bit of authority within their own lives. So, and also because this is the Chariot being a vehicle, we are also talking about travel. So fire signs, I would say that what is trying to come forth for you in your life is the ability to really work with a team, to work together, to allow whatever kind of discord that has gone on to be aired out, completely put on the table, and everybody just needs to talk about it. One of the greatest abilities encouraged by this particular card is the ability to be very diplomatic and very political amongst people. So, whenever this card comes up, I would suggest to whomever I was speaking to that they need to channel their inner politician, their inner diplomat, and not in any kind of a sketchy way. We always want to encourage honesty, but there is something to be said for tactful delivery. So you want to be able to communicate with people in a way that they are going to understand and be able to something that is easy on the palate. You're not going to want to go in there guns blazing. My fire signs are really, really good at, meeting things head on and letting their feelings be known and listen to me. I have something to say. This does speak to channeling a much more tactful, articulate, and thoughtful means of communication so that the team can work together, so that the family can work together. And this does, like I said, this does speak to some kind of travel because the Chariot in and of itself is a vehicle. This also does any kind of vehicle, whether it be a chariot or a Merkaba or anything like that, can also be applied to the physical body, the human body. And so if we're talking about getting healthy, if we're talking about kind of having, this may sound strange, but this is just what's coming to me. If you are considering any kind of new fitness regimen or new routine, whether it be, how you spend your time during the day from the moment you wake up and go to sleep, it would actually help to have dialogue with your actual body. So speaking to the parts of your body that you have had trouble with in the past. For me and for a lot of women that I know, positive self-talk, we tried it. You're beautiful, you're strong, you're doing enough, you are enough. All of that is great. But there really is something to be said for actually verbally communicating with parts of your body and asking it what it needs, what it wants, where you are not giving it enough, where you are giving too much. So because the Chariot does speak to, at times, conflicting personalities amongst the team, this can also be a metaphor for conflicting systems in the body. So you could be, ingesting something that is good for one part of your body, but really putting a lot of strain on another part of your body. So to be able to quieten down and listen very, very carefully to the parts of your body, the different systems of your body, I think would prove to be very, very helpful. Okay, because essentially this card is about getting everybody on the team on the same page, including the physical body. Get all of your systems, your lymphatic system, your lungs, all of it, your skin, get everybody on the same page. Say, all right, muscles, are you guys with me today? What do you guys need? Do you need a break? Do you want something different? Eyeballs, what do you need? I mean, for me, my eyeballs are screaming at me right now. They're like, what have you done to us? So that's something I'm going to take to heart too. I won't be doing false lashes. They really suck. I'm having a hard time. And my eyes are telling me that the fake products that I've put on them today are conflicting quite a bit with my skin. And so, I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to listen to that. Okay. So the next one I am going to do, Sylvia, I really want to peel them off so badly, but if I did live right now, it would just be such a disaster. But the moment that I end this stream, it's, they're coming off. They're coming off with a quickness, I'll tell you. And immediately before I went live, I called my husband and, he was like, "Oh, you look great." And I was like, "I'm so miserable right now. This is just so painful." I don't know how some of these women do it. They wear the fake lashes all the time and it's like nothing. I imagine you get used to it, but I don't see myself getting used to that. All right, next is water. So water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancers. So what is trying to come forth in your life right now, despite your best efforts to subdue it, despite your conscious or some subconscious efforts to deter your progress? What is really trying to come forth in your life, water signs? Just a second. I know when it's ready. I don't have like a blanket system when it comes to shuffling. I have what I call it the padlock. And this is original. Okay, this is something I came up with on my own. And all of us have been to school, and so many of us have had lockers. And if you guys remember the padlock, you turn it, turn it, turn it. You hear and feel a click inside the actual padlock. And then that's when you know, okay, I hit that mark. Now we're going to go back the other way, wait for the click, go the other way, wait for the click. And then that's when you know it's time. That is exactly how I shuffle my cards, is I wait for the proverbial click to happen. And then I go shuffle back the other way. I wait for the proverbial click. And then I go back the other way. And then I just know. And so that is something that I use constantly. So it's not like I shuffle 3 times and then pull. That doesn't work for me. So sometimes it takes 10 seconds. Sometimes I have to sit there and wait for that click for a full minute. Okay. What is trying to come forth? Water. Okay. So I love this. So we have number 10. This is the Wheel of Fortune. All right. This is a very potent card, and it does speak to profound change. Okay. It never speaks to a continuation of anything exactly how it was. This is always having to do with a fundamental shift in either your perspective, your worldview, your vantage point. So we could literally be talking about differences in elevation. And I know that sounds really strange, but here in Florida, we're pretty much at sea level. And so, we could even be talking about, your vantage point changing. So if you're up in the mountains, you could be talking about descending a little bit and getting into a location where your vantage point is different. That is a way for wheels to change, wheels to turn rather, and for your vantage point in life to change. Now, to apply this is actually Jupiter. Okay, so whenever Jupiter comes in, we are talking about upheavals. We are talking about things that just keep going. They don't stop. Okay, this card does not indicate a break anytime soon. This card indicates those wheels are turning, those wheels are moving. You either get crushed under the weight of the wheel, or you hold on until it comes up back around, and then you find yourself up at the top again. Okay. Now, water signs, for the most part, and I don't like to generalize everybody because depending on your location, time of birth, year of birth, all of these things are very, very different. Okay, so I was born March 15th, 1989, but another person that was born March 15th, 1989 could have a completely different configuration of alignments and elemental concentrations within the chart. So no two Pisceans or Scorpios or Cancers are alike. No two signs, no two people are completely alike, which is why so many people report that these astrology like if you're reading a magazine, you flip to the back and it has your horoscope. People are like, this does not resonate at all. This is not me. I don't believe in astrology. Horoscopes are bogus. That's because, there is no there's no way to address everybody all at once. It's very much a case by case basis. Everybody's zodiac is actually so much more personalized than you could ever realize. And so it really does, it doesn't serve you to look at the back of the magazine or the back of the newspaper at your horoscope, because chances are it's just going to confuse you. Probably the best thing to do is to go ahead and get a Vedic star chart reading, so that you know what your alignments are, what your configurations are. It really has changed my life. When I realized that my moon was in the nakshatra of Ardra, everything made sense. Everything made sense. I realized, oh, I'm not just a destructive person for the sake of being destructive. I'm destructive because my moon is in Ardra, and that's just how I think. That is how I navigate myself in the world. I am always looking to tear something down, tear something negative down, to then clear the way for other people to come in and build something better. That's just my function. So it's very helpful to know what your particular configurations are. Okay, so I digress a little bit. I just want to look over here and see how everybody is doing. I love seeing familiar faces, names rather. I can't really see your faces because you guys, I am blind as a bat right now. Really happy to see some of you guys. Delaney, D, Pearly Gates, we miss you on Facebook. We miss you terribly. Shannon, Kate, hi you guys. Everybody's here. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I know. Still waiting for a video from Heidi with Jenny. So I have talked to Heidi very recently, and I let her know whenever she is ready. We are here. I let her know that everybody on YouTube misses her and is thinking about her, and they send their regards. And what can I say? Heidi is just one of the busiest people that I've ever met in my whole life. And she is just a master of her particular trade. And so she is just delegating the energy that she needs to into her own life, into her professional career. And I'm certain she'll be back at some point. All right, you guys. So I don't mean to digress too much here. So my water signs, as far as what is trying to come forth, practical applications of the Wheel of Fortune does speak to a huge shift in the family structure, in the professional structure. We're talking about things that are completely different from what you've been accustomed to. And, sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can literally speak to material things like money and assets, properties, things like that. But on a more metaphysical level, we are talking about allowing ourselves to go with the flow of these big machines, as opposed to, standing in front of this big wheel, this big, mechanic wheel that has been moving itself for millions and millions of years. It's not going to stop for you. Time is not going to stop for you. The world is not going to stop turning. So the best thing to do is to ride that wave, lean into it, and just know that you're not fully in control. And I find that it's actually a very empowering realization to come to once you realize that if you are to just, stop fighting it, stop resisting it, and go with it, those waters aren't going to drown you. You're not going to be crushed. Most of the time, it's not as bad as you think it is. So really, I feel like since my water signs are typically so intuitive and they're so creative and they have such a good grasp on what is going on in the etheric realms, sometimes as opposed to what's going on in the mundane realms. Water signs are notorious for being kind of in la land, dream worlds. We rub a lot of the earth signs the wrong way because they're so down here on earth with the, in the mundane. and we're over here swimming around, and we're like, can we just stay here where we're comfortable, where, this is my wheelhouse. This is what I'd like to do. So the thing about water signs is they typically know what is coming up. They know what is going on subconsciously. And so they're not very good at running from it. They usually just surrender. Okay. So this is an encouragement to just surrender and allow whatever is coming up to just happen. So because this is the number 10, we are talking about this. It's relatively a halfway point. So we have 22 major arcana, but remember my particular deck, I use the Thoth deck designed by Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris, because this one starts at 0, the Fool, and ends at 22. We are looking at just about the halfway point by the time we get to the 10. So there's some significance to where it sits in the major arcana journey. So water signs, we are looking at this halfway checkpoint right now. And if this is something that you intuitively feel coming up for you, it's late in the summer, and if there is some kind of a trajectory that you have felt bubbling up, something that was going to rear its head at this point in the year, chances are you're right, and chances are we're smack dab in the middle of it right now. So anything that you intuitively or psychically have anticipated to come, most likely it's coming, and you're going to want to lean into it. You're not going to want to fight it or prolong it. Let it happen, okay? Because these big machines that have been in operation since before time was time, they're not going to slow down, and they also don't have any invested interest in hurting you. Okay, this is one thing that is just so important, I think, for people to understand, is that there is no external mode of judgment. There is nobody out there that is looking down at you, looking at all of your life decisions, and is writing down, keeping score, and is looking to hurt you or punish you. We do this to ourselves. Even if it is our higher self that is, looking and watching and keeping score and judging, it's still you. It's still just an aspect of yourself. So self-forgiveness and being gentle with yourself, being patient with yourself, as some emotions can be very, very raw at this time. That's really what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to go with the flow. Don't resist it. Sometimes there are times in life when you do want to resist certain things. There are some machines that come your way that you're then required to fight it. You are required. Your higher self then says, no, this is a time where we stand and fight, and it's me or you, or it's this idea or this one, and you have to make a decision. And this really speaks to, well, the decision's already been made. It's already happened. So just go with the flow. So, Jenny, I can die for you. No, please don't do that. Not worth it. That's funny. All right, you guys, let me just take a look at what's going on over here in the comment section. Today's been quite a day for me. I almost didn't get this video done. I was just so, I woke up today so tired. It felt like somebody just came in and flipped a switch, and I was just so done, and I wanted to stay in bed, and I didn't want to do anything, but I realized because today is the peak of this Lion's portal, this Lion's Gate energy, I knew that must have had something to do with it. And when you're feeling especially tired, when you're feeling especially beat down and exhausted, that may be the time. For me, this is what I felt personally. I said, okay, I'm going to rise to the occasion. Today is a good time to do some live readings for folks. It is a very, this is a very a special day. So I wanted to go against all of my emotional knee-jerk patterns here. And instead of going back to bed, or instead of, laying down, I wanted to, bring everything up and just go ahead and do it. And so here I am. All right. Last but not least are my earth signs. So we've got Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. What is trying to manifest? What is trying to come forth? Okay. Sometimes it is best to just rest and to go with it. But for me today, I know I wasn't actually tired. I've gotten plenty of rest. I've been taking my vitamins, drinking a lot of water. So there was no good reason for me to be especially tired. So that's why I decided I was going to go against my impulse to just kind of be lazy. And I was going to do something a little bit different. And I was going to fight that. But sometimes you need to listen. Sometimes you need to pay closer attention to what your body is telling you, or suffer the consequences. All right, Earth. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Oh, we have a repeater. So we have the sun again for my earth signs. Whenever we have, since there's only 4, we're only doing 4 spreads today. I decided just now I was going to do a second card. Okay. Because I don't like repeating cards. Exactly. Even though we can find a million meanings for one card, there's certainly more than just 10 or 20 or 30. I just felt like maybe my earth signs needed a little bit of extra love today. So what I do have is the sun and the star. Okay. So actually what's really cool, I think I might have just seen somebody make mention of the number 17. And that's exactly what the star is. The star is number 17. Okay. So what the star speaks to, and I love this, okay, because the star is about miracles. So for my earth signs, I want to let you know what's trying to come forth in your life right now. Miracles, things that you couldn't have even imagined taking place. Now they're really trying to spring forth. Some things that often come to mind with the number 17, with this particular card, things like our unseen family, and friends. So we're talking about spirit guides. We're talking about galactic family. We're talking about the unseen tethers, the unseen strings, rather, that tether us to people, whether in this realm or in other realms. So this is a card of mediumship, psychic ability, any kind of psychic abilities that you have not fully expressed, or things that earth signs, for the most part, because they are so grounded, they're not usually the first people that you're going to see dabbling or testing out any of their own psychic ability. Okay, earth signs are usually very good with plants, animals. They're really good with any kind of, they're usually really good with money. They're really good with organizing things. Anything that requires them to be very grounded and stabilized. So they're not usually the people that you're going to see, giving readings or doing any kind of that kind of psychic work that requires that really big dose of water energy where you're kind of swimming around. But again, we need to take a look at everybody's individual configurations, what those alignments are, what the concentrations and ratios of earth to water, water to air, any of those things. All of those things make a difference, okay? It's very much like a code. That's really what astrology is. It's code breaking, and tarot is the same thing. I'm essentially reading a code here. But so for what's trying to come forth, the star really does speak to things that are completely unexpected. I don't know if I said that already, but this is really about things that would, if you hadn't, it's almost like you wouldn't have even dreamt it. It's like it's just so far out there that you're like, that's not even possible. And so I'll tell you, one of the One of the greatest things I've ever seen is an earth sign metaphorically brought to their knees by the realization that psychic phenomena is real. Okay, so because they're so, show me the facts. If I can't see it, if I can't explain it, then it's not real. But when an earth sign comes face to face with something that they can't explain, it's a beautiful thing to witness. It really is, because that is when you witness somebody coming into this full realization of the magic that exists all around us. And so I really feel like that's what we're looking at. That's what we're talking about with my earth signs, is a realization of the magic that exists all around you. And that may seem a little bit vague, but that's really how I feel about this particular card. There are all kinds of practical applications to this particular card and what it means for people individually in their lives. If we're talking about a relationship, we could very well be talking about the salvaging of a relationship, okay? Because the star does speak to, an example would be a relationship that you believed couldn't be worked out. You guys were never going to be able to communicate properly. And then the star comes in with all of her cosmic magical energy, and she just kind of waves a wand and says, no, look, we can talk about this. There are miracles. Miracles are possible. Love is a tangible, palpable thing. It is a doing word. It is an action word. It is not all about, what exists in the mind, or ideas about love and what we think love is supposed to be. Love is a very tangible, active thing, and it can create miraculous happenings all around us if only we look. Now, what I will say for my earth signs, they have really, really powerful abilities to explain things. They have a great way of making sense of things and just, all right, we're gonna frame by frame, we're gonna break this down, we're gonna make sense of it, and there's no mystery. There's no mystery involved here. Get away from that a little bit. Allow yourself to embrace the fun of the mystery. That's totally okay, and I think you'd be really really surprised by what comes. So that is it for my signs. I hope that was helpful. I hope that this was entertaining. I just wanted to do my part today for this Lionsgate portal and give you guys something to hold on to, give you something to think about. My system today was a little bit different. I didn't use any of my minor arcana. I didn't use any of my court cards. I wanted everything to be honed directly into the major arcana today, to give us a look at those big guns, those big machines that we're working with right now. And I hope to do another one of these maybe next week and take a look at how the energy is continuing through the month of August. I have a few really great interviews lined up. I have Michelle Root is going to be coming back on the show. We are going to be doing our second principle of Hermetics, which is the principle of correspondence. So her and I are coordinating a good time to get that done for you guys. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I know I was having some technical difficulties there. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, it's so nice to see some familiar names here. And all right, you guys, take care.